Virgo, hello and welcome to your reading for August 9th through the 16th. Whoa, you guys have a lot happening in your sign, in your daily life. I feel like you guys are absolutely riding the waves for a glow up. So with traditional astrology, Virgo is the higher octave of Mercury, whereas Gemini is like that idea you get, that genius song that comes and plays through your head and you got to write it down. Writing it down is Virgo. And then Aquarius is like that telepathic download. So it's sort of like this cycle that feeds itself. We have the Ace of Air. So you guys are coming into a new framework for understanding yourselves, your life, the synchronicities that you experience, and how you can catapult that into your future. Eight of Fire, things are moving ahead regardless of what's going on within, like, you know, this portal of Lionsgate. Last year it got hijacked, so I think that a lot of people are turning away from Lionsgate as being a main source of energy or intel or intuition, because we're needing to be more discerning with our energy. Seven of Fire. So I would even say defend your beliefs and decisions, stand your ground, choose your battles wisely. We need to know who we are and what others might be projecting onto us at this time, Virgo. The Two of Water. So just trust that when you stand up for what you believe in and you are fully yourself, you're going to attract people from that place, because it's a vibration of truth that people are really longing for at this time, Virgo. The Nine of Air is saying expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies, sleepless nights. So we have the mean node at 9 degrees, but we have the north and south node moving to 7 degrees respectively. And it feels like through this reading, you have an idea that you might reconsider, because we have the Ace of Air and then it goes back to the Nine of Air. So let's clarify this reading with the Salvador Dali Tarot. Get some cards to further express. Whoa. So with the Ace of Air, we have the Seven of Pentacles, and maybe that's exactly where the issue is. It's like you've done all this work, you've come up with a new idea to reinvent yourself, but you're like, how do I actually monetize off of this? How do I actually make anything of it? The Seven of Swords means to know thyself, to know thy truth, to know your governing principles, and to have complete access to your inner world, your inner life, and the reason that you do what you do. This is the Huntress Diana, and she's with a Greyhound. So maybe you might need to do some short distance travel with Greyhound service. The Seven of Fire with the Knight of Wands is saying that transformation is afoot with this idea, with this spark. And the Four of Swords is saying that you need to relax, take a break, transmute some energy. You see how he's written some things down. I don't know who this is, so we got to look at the book. And then we have the Two of Cups following the Two of Cups with the Nine of Air. So it's saying to not expect the worst. And what wanted to come out as well is the Page of Coins and the Devil with your reading. So the Page of Coins is saying that from this Seven of Coins, there will be an eighth coin. And it's going to require a leap of faith. You're going to have to trust in what's unfolding as far as your ideas, where they can go. Maybe you're exceeding your expectations and that's what's throwing you off, Virgo. It feels like you guys are showing up to life willing to put yourself into a position of transformation, change, growth, wisdom, intuitive insights. And it's only a matter of time before they start to monetize. So give yourself a year. I claim 1,000 posts. If you are able to post 1,000 pieces of intellectual property, which is your content, your spin on things, even if you do 1,000 reaction videos, by the time you do 1,000 online posts, you're going to attract an audience. It's inevitable. Just because I've done the research over the years, and Tim Ferriss is the one who got me started with this concept, but it's like after you have 1,000 members of your audience that are active. So it's not just having 1,000 followers, but it's 1,000 people who come to you for information. That's when your work starts to monetize. So in order to even get your name out there, 1,000 posts are required. And for years, I know a lot of us did this thing where we would self-censor, we would self-edit, we would make sure that we were following a brand. But really, this Four of Swords, I think, is going to offer us some advice. It says you've got some tough nuts to crack, but you will be able to resolve major contradictions and master complicated issues. Relax both inwardly and outwardly by letting go of negative thoughts. In order for your mind to concentrate on the task at hand, you must relax. A new dimension and a life beyond your expectations awaits you. So let's go into the context of the card. Holistic thinking. The picture on this card picks up on a motif from the tarot deck by A. Rider-Waite and P.C. Smith. It shows a detail of the painting The Death of Marat, one of the great radicals of the French Revolution by Jacques-Louis David. Jean-Paul Marat's life came to a violent end. This particular scene warns of the dangers of the hypnotic effect of ideas and fanaticism in general, which turns people into martyrs and into politically or religiously motivated criminals. The serpent to the right is an ambiguous symbol. On one hand, it tells you to beware of your base drives, animal instincts, and on the other, it's a symbol of wisdom. Drawing on the 4 points of the compass, 4 swords represent the completeness of the weapons of the mind. Thoughts and ideas form a composite whole. Ideally, your thoughts should be well-rounded. They should complement and inspire each other as a sign of wisdom and expanded consciousness. In less ideal circumstances, unmitigated thought manifests itself in disastrous convictions that can only lead to dire consequences. Then you will become a victim or a perpetrator, a fundamentalist or a martyr. There's not just a very real danger to life and limb, as in the case of Jean-Paul Marat. In metaphorical sense, you are warned against human and spiritual bleakness when convictions become more important than love or life. So it feels like because you got the Two of Cups twice, you might be building yourself into a corner with these thoughts that you have that are super toxic, Virgo. So it's time to put those things to rest and to really relax. That 4 and the 9, there is an echoing of 4s that happened earlier in the week, but Black Moon Lilith will move to 5 degrees, and I feel like that's when our thoughts clarified. Let's see exactly when that is. So I think by Tuesday, the 13th of August, you will escape this crazy, crazy, crazy feeling, thinking process that you cannot stop. And that's a good thing. It's hard to get out of that rut. I've been there. I've worked myself into a corner with art, and I was like so convinced that, and maybe the new moon in Leo is actually helping you guys with that because it's in your 12th house, but I was so convinced that my painting was done, and the big body high priestess was like, what you say is creating your life. So that helped me to be like, okay, how much of my time do I spend confirming that my art career is over before it's even began versus saying I'm coming up with new great ideas. We have the ring. This came up for your love reading. Gnosis, a lot of this came up for your love reading. The healer and the heart. Let's look at the healer because there's that serpent, and I think it'll cover all of these cards that I just pulled because the heart is what matters. And when we get to the heart of the matter, it might be around feeling like we don't really know ourselves and we've been committed in a committed partnership, but we didn't really know who we were. We needed to do more work to uncover the truth about ourselves. And it feels like the ways that we will come to think of ourselves by the 13th of August will allow for us to have a new sense of healing. And we're not going to constantly be scrubbing till our knuckles bleed over an idea. And we'll come into a more safe place with our mind, with our thoughts, with our feelings, because Black Moon Lilith in the 2nd house is like, I think she's making sure that we rid ourselves of false narratives, that we rid ourselves of false means of attachment, of very shallow, even like we need to vibe check, because it's like there were ideas that we had about a person in our love life that were just based on the rhetoric that we had from previous people who had nothing to do with who you are now, Virgo. All right, the healer. Let me stop with this channel because I could go on. I'll save it for the podcast. The healer. 111. So we need to be in integrity with our heart and what our heart loves. And how we will do that, you may ask? The lightworker, the gifted, the old soul. When light, self-contained, grateful and awake. When dark, tired, needy, forgetting its own practice. So you need to have some sort of practice that centers you, that grounds you into a state of knowing thyself, that makes you feel like you know yourself enough to proceed with a new chapter. Mars is in Gemini, the lower octave. So it's like you might be having some really like sparkly ideas that are flashing, especially as Mars conjuncts Jupiter. And it might grow to where it's like, just get a voice note. Get everything down in a voice note or text to type out your idea, and don't look at it for another 6 months. Like literally don't even bother. But if you need to go back to that note and start actualizing it, I feel like it will be really healing for you, Virgo. Though some claim the work of the healer as their gift and name it as their dharma, the force of this archetype is within everyone. It's our natural inclination to, to remember and to return to and to reclaim that central and eternal life force from which we so easily drift away. In Sanskrit, the word avida means forgetting, and it's said that this is the source of all suffering and dis-ease. The healer's mission then becomes to move through the comfort of forgetting, through the veils of ignorance and denial, to reveal the radiance that already exists. The healer approaches this in multiple ways from multiple angles, knowing the cycle of healing is not linear. It's multi-layered and a circuitous process, always leading back to its own origin, much like the Ouroboros, which I believe is the snake eating itself. So it's like we need to not have the snake getting away from us, but really coming back in and folding back in, and we need to maybe shed some tears. Watch Aries reading if you need to see me shed a tear of sadness, any deeply held sadness. Okay, we're going to read Gnosis as well because that feels like the next step, but it also is what came out with the healer. True knowledge is not found in facts and figures in scholarly books on library shelves. Rather, Gnosis points to the deep and timeless archetypal wisdom that rises from the felt experience of having touched the unknown with every one of the senses. Those who are drawn to Gnosis find themselves in esoteric studies, likely involving mysticism, alchemy, healing, or perhaps science. Knowing is their calling, not knowing is their job description. No matter how far the alchemists take their studies, they come to the ultimate conclusion that facts slip towards mystery, and soon the mystery results in facts. This card signifies a knowing that is life-changing. Once you experience it, you are forever changed and become a guardian of Gnosis. The eternal mystery is calling you, studying your passion in the deepest way available to you. When light, contemplating the mystery, unanswerable questions when dark, over-intellectualizing and literalizing, asking others. So, those who say they know, don't. Those who say they don't know, know. And this card relates to the riddle and the shapeshifter. All concern themselves with the revealing mystic truths. I want to point you towards the caduceus here in this alchemy of the Two of Cups that you have twice in your reading. So let's see what the sacred symbols have as far as guidance for you, because it feels like this page of coins is saying that you do have to transform an element of your physical reality, like your daily life. We got a couple cards. Let's see. Affluence. And once Black Moon Lilith moves to 5 degrees, it's going to be at 5 degrees in 5 minutes or seconds. I don't really know what that is. Truth and release. Affluence might come through you acknowledging the truth that you don't know and releasing any form of knowing, so that you could take this next step into a radical change of your life, a transformation of 12, 11, 10, where you were headed with your career and trajectory, your legacy, and maybe it's welcoming new life, new perspective, a new outlook. Virgo, have an amazing week. Let me know how it goes for you in the comments, and I will see you on our next reading. Aloha.